In a season full of early season disappointments, the Reds are now playing their best baseball of the year. Winners of 6 in a row, and today look to do something they haven't done in 35 years, a 4-game sweep of the Cubbies. Can the Reds finish the homestand in grand style? We'll find out next. A gorgeous summer Sunday in downtown Cincinnati. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark. The Reds are looking for the 4-game series sweep against their division rival Cubbies on this Sunday afternoon in Cincinnati. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Brian Giesenslaw. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. I'll tell you, this team's playing really well, Chris. Not just the 6-game winning streak that they bring into the game today, but really for the better part of now almost an entire month and a half.
I think there are a lot of people that are in the game, Tom, like the Cubs and the players. Joe Madden and company will tell you that this ball club, the Reds that is, a lot better ball club than people really give credit for, and a lot better ball club than their record indicates.
Well, you go back to after losing the initial first 3 games where Jim Riggleman replaced Brian Price. Since then, they're 1-0. Since May the 8th, they're 5-0. 9-2 in their last 11. We know about the win streak. They try and make it 7 today. Now, Sal Romano, his last 2 starts, both interleague starts against Kansas City and Detroit, has been lights out. But what about today against this Cub team?
Well, the Cub team, obviously, their backs are against the wall here today. They're going to be grinding it out. They need one win before they get in that airplane and head out to Los Angeles. So you know that they'll be very tough lineup today. Romano can be on top of his game, though, and get some easy outs, some ground balls. He's a guy that has a power sinker, a good slider. He's got to keep it down, but command is going to be the most important thing for Sal here this afternoon.
Mike Montgomery will get a spot start today for the Chicago Cubs. When we come back, we'll check in downstairs with Brian Giesenslaw about this Reds revival. The offense rolling right now. Brian standing by on Fox Sports Ohio.
Coming out of the 70s into the 80s this afternoon with a blend of sun and clouds. An ever so slight chance we get under an isolated shower at the ballpark, but it shouldn't give us any big problems. Let's go Reds. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
The winning streak for the Reds, yeah, it's reached 6. Could hit 7 today, but look at the numbers around the National League. During the winning streak, the Reds trailing only the Rockies in terms of runs per game in first in all of those other categories. They've outscored the Cubs 23-7 in the 3 games so far in this series and have hit better than 300. Those numbers, of course, padded by Anthony DeSclafani's first career grand slam. So, yeah, better baseball. Good stuff right now in the Reds clubhouse. And today, Jim Riggleman pointed out some of the great leadership in the clubhouse that's helped guide the team through this stretch. Some more vocal than others, but Tucker Barnhart, one of the names that Riggleman pointed out earlier today.
You start the way we started, it's easy to kind of fall into the woe is me kind of thought process, but our coaching staff does a great job of we talk about a growth mindset and having a growth mindset and trying to do something to get better every single day, and we come to work and we try to do that, you know. So it's finally kind of paying off on the field as far as the wins are concerned. Everybody's producing, everybody's contributed in a positive way, and it's a lot of fun to come to work every day for sure.
It's been fun. So what's at stake today? A 4-game sweep against the Cubs, and yes, lucky number 7 potentially out there as well. Tom and Chris are back with more after this.
Beat, magic hands, lightning feet, pushing through the rhythm after track meets said victory. Yeah, it tastes so sweet. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am unstoppable. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am unstoppable. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am unstoppable. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am unstoppable.
Redlegs come in with a 6-game win streak and a storyline brought to you by Elk and Elk with a win today. The first 4-game sweep of the Cubbies since 1983. The second 4-game sweep of the season for the first time since '99. and a 7-game winning streak, which would be the longest this year and the longest since July of that outstanding 2012 team that won 97 games during the regular year. Big Sal Romano making his way to the Great American Ballpark pitcher's mound. 15 starts under his belt, a 4-7 record. More on his numbers in a minute. And Joe Maddon's starting lineup. His team 2 games behind front-running Milwaukee in the National League Central, 10 games over 500. Almora Jr. in center, Hayward in right, Baez at second base, Rizzo at first, Contreras catching, and Kyle Schwarber in left field. Ian Happ moves into third base today. Addison Russell plays shortstop. Mike Montgomery makes his 6th start of the year. What about Sal Romano? Why has he been better the last 2 games?
Well, he's been better because he's been able to establish a fastball for strikes. That's the biggest thing. He's not afraid to pitch inside, and that's the one thing that I've noticed about Romano really when he first came on the scene back in spring training last year. He's got 80 innings now under his belt. He doesn't strike out a lot for a guy that throws 95 miles an hour, but he gets soft contact, got a nice slider, and hopefully he'll be able to keep that ball down in the zone and get some ground balls and use that defense behind him.
Almora Jr. digging in. First pitch swung on and fouled away, strike 1. We are underway. This is the 3rd career start, the 2nd of this year for Romano against the Cubs. His first start against him in August of last year was really good. 7 innings of 2-run baseball. But this year, going back to May, he lasted 5 innings and gave up 7 earned runs, walking 6 batters in that game, and a base hit by Almora. A lot of Cub fans sticking around through this entire weekend, and a lot of them here at the ballpark on this Sunday. Those are the 2 prior career starts for Romano, his 3rd against Chicago career today. Almora just 1 stolen base. He's been thrown out twice. And that'll bring up Jason Hayward, the Chicago right fielder, at 277, rolling right now. Been a 370 batter over the last month. Just 1 of 4 yesterday, and there's a 2-hopper down to Suarez. They'll get the out at second. 1 away in the inning. Look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Scott Schebler back off the bereavement list today. He lost an uncle back in Iowa. Certainly our thoughts and prayers to his entire family. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto along the infield, and Tucker hanging the signs for Romano. Here's Javier Baez. Saw Schebler, talked to him quite a while before the game today, and his father's brother passing away back on the home front. And there's an out. Again at second base. So that's a total of 4 pitches thrown to the first 3 batters in this game. The Cubs are coming out swinging.
Well, we saw that yesterday. We really saw it on Friday as well. This is a ball club that likes to hit the fastball. They're going to get a lot of fastballs on the first count, especially from Romano. And weak contact here over the last 2 batters, both by Hayward and Baez.
So now the big slugging first baseman Anthony Rizzo, still off to a pretty quiet start, batting average wise anyway, only a 237. He does have 11 home runs and ranks in the top 5 in the league with 48 runs batted in. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, will call the balls and strikes today. Jordan Baker at first. Ohio University's very own Jeremy Rahak is the umpire at second, and Greg Gibson, a native Buckeye, down at third. That ball tagged but foul. Is Greg Gibson technically from Kentucky or Ohio? Technically, do you know?
Oh, he's a Kentucky guy.
That's what I thought. I thought he was across the river down there, yeah.
In fact, Jerry Lane is also, he was born in Pikeville, so we've got the Commonwealth represented very strongly here in this umpire crew today.
Short right field, and that's where they had him played, and a scoreless opening inning for Romano. So Mike Montgomery will face the Redlegs. No score. Trying to make it 7 straight wins today. Schebler back in there, has missed this entire series back in Iowa. He's in right field. Barnhart catching and Votto at first. Suarez, Jeanette, Duvall in the middle. Peraza, Romano, Hamilton, the latter third. Mike Montgomery will be forever remembered as the pitcher who got the final out of the World Series in 2016, ending 108 years of misery for the Cubbies.
He will indeed. That was a while ago in his mind. He's more worried about the first out of the ball game here as Scott Schebler steps into the batter's box. Montgomery's a reliever this year, but he's been also a spot starter. He's had 5 starts. He was a starter when he came up to the major leagues with the Seattle Mariners back in 2015. And has alternated back and forth from the bullpen ever since.
All right, so Schebler at 281. 9 home runs and 28 batted in. First pitch of the game, a base hit into center field. Same thing that Almora was trying to do when he fouled away the first pitch of the game.
Well, what is in common between these two first pitches that they're both very high and up out over the plate. Almora laced one up the middle for a base hit, and Schebler does the same thing to his high pitch. Schebler's one of those odd left-handed hitters that he really likes the ball up in the zone. That's what makes him a good hitter against left-handed pitching.
Now Tucker Barnhart, boy, what a pickup that was by Contreras. That ball nowhere near where he was set up. Schebler, a pair of stolen bases. He's not been thrown out. Tucker at 265. He hit a first inning 2-run home run to get the Reds off and running here yesterday. That was from the left side of the plate, of course, against a right-hander, Luke Farrell, who started the game for Chicago. Now, obviously, a huge difference in the number of at-bats. 180 from the left side, 43 from the right. He is not homered from the right side, but a much better batting average, over 400 facing the Southpaws. Barnhart does have 4 doubles against the left-handers, and a lot of them seem to be ones that he sprays down the right field line into the corner. Well, it is a beautiful day here today. A lot of white billowy clouds and the mostly blue skies overhead, and very cool temperatures. Really warm at the beginning of the week. And we have been so fortunate with all the threat of rain this entire homestand that, knock on wood, it stays that way. Keep playing. Breaking ball, and that's a high strike, and it's called strike 3 on Barnhart.
Well, that's his go-to pitch. I think Barnhart knows that. Everybody on that Reds knows that Mike Montgomery loves that curveball of his. And he starts it low. It looks like it's going to be out of the zone. He drops it right back in at the top of the letters. It's a good pitch.
That brings Joey Votto to the plate. The batting average right at .299. 8 home runs and 40 runs batted in for Votto to go with 15 doubles and a couple of triples. Strike 1. Votto traditionally has always hit left-handed pitching so well. But that has not been the story so far this year for Joey. Only .209. He has 91 at-bats against him and just 19 base hits. He does have 3 home runs against the left-handers.
I've always thought that one of the reasons for Votto's success against left-handers is his really great ability to read the pitch, the type of pitch early when it comes right out of a pitcher's hand, especially a left-hander's. And because he's willing to hit the ball to left field, he's actually more willing this year to hit it to left field than ever before. He'll take that breaking ball and take what the pitcher gives him, which is a single into the opposite field. You know, when Votto pulls a ball, more times than not, it's a fastball. When he hits it the other way, more times than not, it's a breaking pitch.
Fastball that runs off the inside corner, and Votto ahead in a count of 3 balls and a strike. This is the final game, final series between the Cubs and the Reds here in Cincinnati today. And here we are on just the, 24th of June. And the Reds have not been to the Windy City yet. So 3 trips moving into this summer. Going to Chicago, there's ball 4. And Votto draws a walk, sending Schebler to second base. IGS bringing the energy. Look at some of the hitting streaks, including number 1 on that list, a man who comes to the plate now, a career best 13 in a row for Eugenio Suarez. But Jeanette, Hamilton and Duvall, who have really been quiet most of this year, are finally starting to collect some base hits. Suarez, 16 home runs, 58 runs batted in. And that pitch in the dirt, and now they have Votto caught in a rundown. He was going to take off, but then he realized that Schebler was not going to take off. That's a big out.
Well, you don't go on what happens at home plate if you're the trail runner. You go on what happens to the runner ahead of you. You don't go anywhere if he's not going anywhere. And Votto trying to be a little overly aggressive right there. That is, boy, that is a gift to the Cubs.
Diving play made at third by Happ, and that will end the inning. A hit, 1 left. End of 1. No score. Check out their award-winning lineup, only your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. And by Buick, get $5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models. Beautiful day right outside of Ballpark on the Ohio riverfront. Sal Romano on the mound, inning number 2 of a scoreless game to face a Cubs catcher, Wilson Contreras, strike 1. 262 batter, 5 home runs, hit his 5th here yesterday. A laser to the first row of the stands in right center field.
Sal wanted that one. I think that's the kind of pitch that you can tell early on that if you're throwing it out there and you're getting that call, you're going to live on that part of the plate. One of the mistakes that a lot of pitchers will make, especially young pitchers, that they'll miss a way like that, and then they'll try to bring the ball in just a little bit when you've already defined the outside of the strike zone. So the hitter's seen that good spot, and the more you make it hittable, the more it probably gets hit.
Looped into right field. That's easy for Schebler. Contreras set down to start the Chicago 2nd inning, and here comes the Middletown Midi alum, Kyle Schwarber. I tell you what, between Schwarber and Ian Happ, they do nearly a month's worth of damage against Cincinnati compared to all the other teams that they face. Schwarber has a career .312 batting average, and in 31 games against the Reds has knocked in 25 runs. And bear in mind, the last 2 years, this guy's hitting in the 220s and the 230s.
So are you surprised when you looked at the lineup today from Joe Madden, who really likes to, fool around with the lineup and place guys in different spots, that Ian Happ is hitting number 7 and Schwarber's hitting right ahead of him? Both left-handed hitters who could face Romano if you put him at the top of the lineup.
Hey, look, Joe Madden's forgotten more baseball than I'll ever know, but between those two things that you point out, and the one for me, every time the guy steps in this building, the 3 guys that are going to be in the lineup are Schwarber, Happ, and Ben Zobrist.
It seems like there's a red carpet to first base.
I mean, Zobrist has the highest OPS of any visiting player that has ever played here. But again, I mean, look, Joe Madden, he knows his team. Forgotten more baseball than I'll ever hope to know, so they've won a pile of games in Chicago since he took over. And Zobrist is sitting this one out. Straight up in the air. Two down in the inning, but you consider Ian Happ. The Reds have walked this guy this year 12 times. 12. How many walks does Ian Happ have on this season? He has 33. And he doesn't play every game against the Reds. He's played in 8 of them. I should say he doesn't start every game. And you saw his batting average numbers for Ian Happ. I mean, are you kidding me? A .354 batting average in 23 games against the Reds, and in this ballpark, a .410 batter. And again, his season average starts in the 220s. One ball and 2 strikes. And the count now even. Three balls, 2 strikes coming to Happ. He's walked for the 13th time against the Reds. 34 walks on the year. In 8 games and 1 at-bats, the Reds have walked him 13 times.
That's one of those lack of concentration bases on balls right there. He gets to a 2-2 count. He tries to overthrow a fastball. And then on a 3-2 count, he just leaves his breaking ball up out of the zone.
So now the Chicago shortstop, Addison Russell, .273 batter, 3 home runs, 16 batted in. This guy was batting cleanup for a large chunk of last season for the Cubs. Has been quite streaky this year, and more times than not, quiet this year.
Well, he's in his 4th season as a full-time player with the Cubs, and batting average-wise and on-base percentage by far this year has been his best. He's hit as many as 21 home runs in one season. That was his 2nd season. Dropped off the 12 last year. Which I find really interesting because it seemed like all the rest of Major League Baseball's home run rate went up last year.
Sure. And I mean by a large margin. I mean, there are guys, and we've documented some guys at different points in time this year of players, especially when we were in Minnesota. You know, they had a great year last year, that Twins team, and made it to the wild card game. And they had guys that doubled, even tripled their prior career high in home runs. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Addison Russell and Romano. The pause with a runner at first and 2 out. In the dirt, blocked perfectly by by Barnhart, I beg your pardon.
Textbook.
Still 2-2 on Russell. Reds will travel after the game today. A short trip south to Atlanta. Open a 3-game series down there against the leaders in the National League East. The Braves with a 1.5-game lead over Philadelphia. They have lost 3 in a row going into play today. And then the Reds will turn around and come right back home and open another extended homestand. Milwaukee and the White Sox come to town over the next week. Broken bat, softly hit at Jeanette, and that's all for the Cubbies in the 2nd inning. In center field, flanked by Schwarber and Hayward. Happ moving into 3rd base today. Baez at 2nd. And Montgomery, 5 starts. He's pitched in 23 total games this year. No score as the Reds come to bat here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Jeanette, Duvall, Peraza, the scheduled trio. See the numbers for Montgomery as a starter. I mean, he has been really, really good, exceptionally good in the rare starts. Montgomery has made 14 appearances officially today against the Reds, 4 times as a starter. His last 5 outings spanning 15 innings, so, you know, mostly out of the bullpen. He's not allowed a single run against the Reds in 3 starts, all coming last year. Threw the ball extremely well. A 1-1 record, a 2.3 ERA. Guy's more than capable. He would be a regular member for many teams in their starting rotation. They have Yu Darvish right now on the disabled list. And the best Cubs starter is the only one the Reds did not see during this 4-game weekend series, and that would be John Lester. He'll start tomorrow night in Los Angeles. 3 balls and a strike. Shot into left field, a sinking liner, and a sliding catch made out there by Schwarber.
You know, sometimes you can size up a pitcher and his stuff by how he throws the ball and where he strides. And I think he could do that with Mike Montgomery. He's a left-hander that throws a little bit across his body, which will make everything that he throws basically cut away from a left-hander and go into a right-hander. And you see there's a couple of different circles there. And we're going to show you maybe from a high home standpoint of where he strides. He's going to stride and basically end up right over here, which is slightly across his body. And he never really clears his hips, but it really helps his breaking ball when he throws it.
That ball driven in a deep left center field, and what a play made out there by Almora Jr. Boy, the Reds are hitting the ball very hard early on here against Montgomery, and Chicago flashing the leather early.
Well, the Reds are coming out of the on-deck circle swinging the bat very much like the Cubs, who come out very aggressive. That's a nice play by Almora. He's a very good player and a very fine defensive player. Although I'm not sure he's in the category of Billy Hamilton when it comes to dramatic game-saving catches.
So 2 lineouts on excellent plays made by Schwarber and now Almora Jr. And here's Peraza.
Wonder why both these teams are coming out of the on-deck circle swinging the bat. Well, the Braves, Reds, and Cubs have more hits than anybody else in the National League when it comes to getting hits on the very first pitch of the at-bat. And of course, the Reds will see the Braves the next 3 days as they go down to Atlanta after today's game to play Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Those will be night games the first 2 days into Atlanta, and then an afternoon tilt on Wednesday before the Reds come right back home again. Easier defensive try this time as Russell throws out Peraza. We move to the third in a scoreless game. Presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare, where, you know, multiple packages are available. Includes your session of yoga out on the field. You get a game ticket to see the Reds and the Brewers the 1st of July, and an option to get an exclusive Reds block for your future yoga endeavors.
I thought we had that figured out, where the Brennemans and the Welshes could be represented by Polly and Beth, respectively.
I think you and I should join it.
All right, I'm in. If you're in, I'm in. I've got a yoga mat. I mean, what the heck?
You do?
Yeah.
Do you use it to, like, hang stuff off of, or I mean, what do you do with that?
Hit golf balls into it.
Here's Mike Montgomery. And he looks at a fastball in there, a strike. Montgomery to be followed by Almora and then Hayward. Hey, at least it's getting some use, right?
I thought that's what they were designed for.
Precisely, up against the wall. You just pin them up against there and a couple of staples, maybe, you know, a staple gun. Hey, on a serious note, you know, Kroger's one of our great sponsors for the Reds, and they lost an employee yesterday, been there 23 years. Kawana Harvey, 38 years old, been battling cancer, breast cancer, a long time. Leaves behind a 17-year-old daughter who she got to see graduate from Western Hills High School this year. But certainly our thoughts and prayers to their entire family. Almora Jr. Boy, he has hit a couple of missiles here today. Billy over to cut it off, and he'll hold Almora to a single. Almora has both Chicago hits in this game.
He came right out of the on-deck circle swinging the bat the first time up. Same right here. A little better pitch by Romano. Still, even if you're 2 or 3 inches above the D versus 2 or 3 inches below the D, That's a major batting average difference when it comes all down to it.
Jason Hayward tapped out into a fielder's choice on a slow roller to Suarez in the first inning. There goes a runner, and it's fouled out of play. Romano has pitched 12 straight scoreless innings. That is a career high for him. He's coming off back-to-back outstanding starts. 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run in Kansas City, and then 7 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball on this homestand. It started on Tuesday night against Detroit.
Good looking breaking ball right there. Sal has 2 speeds on his breaking pitch. The one that you're going to see anywhere from 85 to 87 miles an hour, that's a slider. You see the little dot on the ball right there? The other one that he'll throw is 79, 80 miles an hour is a curveball. That's more of a kind of a get ahead pitch.
Slider swinging Hayward's second strikeout of the inning and of the day for Romano.
The slider is the put away pitch. Back to back. Really good there. Look at the tilt on that pitch.
Javier Baez, a week 2 hopper that turned into a fielder's choice, bouncing it to Joey Votto in the Chicago first inning. Runner at first, 2 outs. Big swing on the first pitch. He was bailing and wailing there. Great seats out there. We talk about them all the time. That's one of my favorite spots. He's out there in right. A fair ball up the left field line into the corner, trying to get there quickly. Duvall, they're going to wave around the runner. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he is out at the plate. What a throw by Peraza to cut down Almora. And it all started with Duvall getting to that ball so quickly down the line. Boy, these Reds are playing good baseball, man. Really good baseball. That is picture perfect defense.
Albert Almora Jr. thrown out at the plate. The guy in the on-deck circle sometimes is the traffic cop who tells the runner what to do. Here's the ball down the line, fielded by Duvall, relay by Peraza. But here's where Rizzo is. He should really be over right there, so he can tell Almora to slide and then slide up the first baseline. He did tell Almora to slide, but very late in the play. And Almora tried to toe dance past Barnhart right there, but if he knew earlier, and I think that Rizzo probably could have given him directions as to where that throw was, which was in foul territory. You slide on the first base side, he's got a lot better chance of getting in there. But you don't want to take away the credit that the Reds made right there. Perfect relay play. That is some really big league defense.
8, 9, and 1 for the Reds in the batting order. Romano, Hamilton, and Shevlin. No score, last of the third. Romano 1 hit in 24 at bats. That was a double. And he has struck out for the 18th time in 25 at bats. Billy swinging a good bat. We mentioned he comes in offensively playing as well as he has really at any point in time this entire year. Has that 6-game hitting streak, one shy of his season high. But during the stretch, he has 3 multi-hit games. Has 10 hits in his last 21 at-bats. That's nearly a .480 average. They are in another rain delay in Pittsburgh today. They waited a while to get started yesterday. Diamondbacks and the Pirates. Arizona looking for the weekend sweep. Starting in about 15 minutes. Cardinals and the Brewers. Rubber game of that series. Billy gone swinging. And that's back-to-back strikeouts for Montgomery here in the third. 3 total in the game. Let's go downstairs to Brian Giesenslaw.
Yeah, guys, you know that obviously Scott Schebler was on the bereavement list. Unfortunately, a death in his family, and he wasn't eligible to come off that list until today. But Schebler made it back to the Reds clubhouse yesterday, said he got his time with his family, wanted to get back. He took BP yesterday and said really mentally after spending that time with his family, he just wanted to get back on the field as soon as possible. And he was really excited and more relaxed to be back in the lineup and playing here again this afternoon.
And his first time up, he ripped one into center field for a base hit. Three balls and no strikes on Schebler. A 4-pitch walk to open the door for Tucker Barnhart. And the Reds have a base runner. And now we have a quick message for you from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Tucker called out on strikes, his only time up in the opening inning. No score. Cubs 3 hits. Reds have 1. That was Schebler leading off the bottom of the first inning. Schebler now leads at first after a 2-out walk.
You know, Tom, sometimes you see something happen, it's kind of a trend, and you think, well, is it anecdotal or is there a trend there? So I just looked up the number of 2-out walks issued by teams in the National League. And wouldn't you know that the Cubs are number 1 and the Reds are number 2?
So you're talking about on the mound, or you're talking about drawing walks?
Well, I'm talking about as a team pitching. Throwing walks as pitchers.
Yeah, we've seen that, it seems, a lot with the Reds.
And we've kind of written it off as inexperience on the part of a young pitcher. You go out there and you think you're almost out of the inning, so you kind of let your guard down a little bit. Next thing you know, you walk the guy on 4 pitches. I just think it was kind of interesting that, you know, we see it, and it actually is a trend, although the Cubs have now 20 more 2-out walks than do the Reds.
And obviously you can't use that kind of excuse for the Cub pitchers because it's a veteran staff. Ground ball down to third, and that's all for the Reds in the third. 1 man left, end of 3, no score. Cincinnati's very own Walk the Moon will be performing a live concert on the field Saturday, July the 28th. That'll be right after the game, so your ticket gets you the ball game and a show from Walk the Moon. Visit Reds.com/concerts. Look forward to that. Coming up in about a month. No score. Chicago bats against Sal Romano here in the top of the 4th inning. 4, 5, 6. Rizzo, Contreras, and Schwarber. Rizzo hit the ball sharply his first time up. Were it not for Jeanette playing way out into the outfield grass, which he is again now, it's a base hit for Rizzo. Instead, Scooter threw him out. Chris Bryant a little bit beat up right now, and his manager yesterday and again today has given his star third baseman the days off. Fly ball center field. Billy will come get it, one away. And of course, really the two cornerstones of the Chicago Cubs franchise right now would be Bryant and Rizzo. And so far in this series, the Reds have really done a number on that duo. 1 for 20 with 6 strikeouts. And 2 of the biggest outs were Rizzo in this series, facing Amir Garrett. Boy, what a battle that's starting to turn into, and one that, as we continue to move forward, Rizzo's not going anywhere. Garrett's not going anywhere. That's one for perhaps not only this year, but for many years to come.
Right now, it's a one-sided battle with Amir Garrett on top.
He got Rizzo to line into a double play yesterday after striking Rizzo out with the bases loaded in the opening game here Thursday night on 3 pitches. Two balls and 2 strikes on Contreras. He flied out to right field his first time up. Cubs with 3 hits. They've left 3 on base. Reds have 1 hit. They've stranded 2.
Boy, is that a good slider. Wow. You know, sometimes when a young guy gets on a roll, you're not really sure whether he's doing it with quality pitchers or it's a combination of, you know, good fortune, maybe good defense. That's the curveball right there. You see that index finger of his curved and kind of spiked so he can get his nail right into the seam of the baseball. But Romano is making some really good pitches right now, especially with his breaking stuff.
First 2 retired in the inning are Schwarber.
These are the kind of games that are fun to catch if you're Tucker Barnhart, because you put a pitch down, a location down, you've got a really good chance of it being this pitch in the right spot.
Cleveland has jumped all over the Tigers early on. End of 2, a 4-0 Cleveland lead. The Tribe, like the Reds, trying to win their 7th straight game. So Well, the 2 longest winning streaks in all of baseball. I beg your pardon. The Rangers have won 7 in a row. But then you have the Reds and the Tribe, each trying to make it 7 straight in their respective games today. 2-2 on Schwarber. Just blew him away with a high fastball. What an impressive day so far for Romano.
Seven grand slams on the season, 6 different players, and of course yesterday, for the first time since 1959, Anthony DeSclafani, a pitcher with a grand slam. Disco's got the ball, the bat, and a memory.
All in all, I was just trying to, hit the ball hard somewhere, and not strike out. I ended up getting full count there, and I knew a fastball was coming, so I just tried to square it up, and it just happened to go out. So.
All right, so in 1959, it was Bob Perkey, obviously, with the last grand slam by a Reds pitcher. The most grand slams in a season by the team in Reds history, 9 back in 2002.
Well, what a day that was. A day that Anthony DeSclafani, you never know it by that interview, but
I think that's about as excited as I've ever seen him right there. And this guy is, he's a little bit shy, doesn't get too excited or too low. But you could see that smile when he saw that ball go out of the ballpark yesterday. Oh, man, what a feeling that must have been.
Joey Votto walked his first time up. That means he has walked now in 9 straight games. That's the 5th time he's done that in his career. It's the longest since 10 in a row back in 2013. And a little pop-up into short center field. And, boy, I tell you, between Schwarber in left and Almora in center, those 2 guys are doing it with a glove early on today.
I mean, just hard pursuit right here, and because he got a good jump on it, he actually caught that ball about waist high and ends up doing a little belly flop.
Yeah. It's like the icing on top of that donut I just had half of.
Why only half?
Extra icing right there.
You saving the half for later?
Yeah, book it.
I'll tell you, with the 2 outfields that are out here, you know how good Jason Hayward is. And we know that Almora and Billy Hamilton are very good. We brag about Duvall all the time. There's really not a lot of green area in the outfield in this ballpark. It's kind of small anyway. When you start putting some fleet-footed outfielders out there, you better hit a line drive.
Strike 3 called to Suarez, a fastball in the inside corner that he's still wondering about. That's 4 strikeouts on the afternoon for Montgomery.
Montgomery's a guy that makes his fastball seem a lot faster than it really is. I mean, he's throwing 89, 90 miles an hour on the radar gun. Maybe 91 is the best pitch today. But he's a little bit like Gio Gonzalez, who makes his fastball seem faster because he's got a good complement of other off-speed stuff.
Breaking ball that's dropped foul out of play. Jeanette lined out hard down the left field line on a diving play made by Schwarber back in the 2nd inning. First batter of the game, Shebler had a base hit off Montgomery. The Reds are in search of hit number 2. 2 outs, nobody on, last of the 4th in a scoreless game. On swinging is Jeanette. 5 strikeouts for Montgomery.
Rolling right along right now, and you know, he had some very good coaching growing up because he understands the need for 2 different speeds on his breaking pitch, and we visited with him in spring training about that subject. And you see on the left, you got the strikeout curveball. That's where he's got that, his kind of index fingernail in there. That's the one you put him away with. And the get me over curveball is slower. So we'll roll the strikeout one right here. Look at the bottom out on that pitch.
First pitch swinging, Ian Happ to begin the Chicago 5th inning. So the Cubs have their 4th hit now against Romano. And Happ continues to get on base seemingly every plate appearance against the Reds in now 9 games this year. Here's Addison Russell. He popped up to second his first time up.
I mean, in his career, Ian Happ has reached base against the Reds, not only here, but against the Reds anywhere, more than 50% of the time. That's going up after today. He might be giving Joey Votto some tips.
And another seeing eye base hit. That one dribbling through for Addison Russell. So back-to-back singles to open this Chicago 5th inning, and the pitcher Montgomery coming up, who has 1 sacrifice this year.
Well, he gets a ground ball, but unfortunately for the Reds and Romano, it finds a hole over there. You got the shortstop pinched a little bit towards second base. Opens up the left side of the infield. So here's where Romano, though, can take control of this. You know, either go for a strikeout right here or get off the mound quickly enough to get that runner at third base. Reds had the swing play or the wheel play on that time. That was a play where the third baseman will start here and he'll race in, and the shortstop will start right here and he'll race over to third base to actually beat the runner to third.
It's a long run for Peraza, who's already cheating, significantly cheating, close to that second base bag.
Basic play this time, which means that Romano, if the ball is on the ground, he's got to get off the pitcher's mound and head to third base. And if he can field that way the third baseman goes back to the bag and you're able to get the force play at third base. 2 strikes. He's still got the bunt on. This is where you go for a strikeout.
And he got it. Now back to the top of the order. It's been a perfect day for Albert Almora Jr. A pair of singles to center field, and both very well struck. So this is a very important batter now for Romano to try and retire for the first time today, with runners at first and second and only 1 out in a scoreless game. When he's up there hacking again, 3rd straight time Almora has come to the plate swinging at the first pitch.
Well, he's had good pitches to swing at. I mean, even that last pitch that he fouls off right here was a slider that Romano left up. So, you know, one of those mistake pitches you get away with.
hard, and Duvall will get there. Boy, that's 3 straight times that Almora has hit the ball right on the screws, but this time they get him out. 2 away in the inning. One more out to go for Romano. Really a guy who's been the hottest Cub in this lineup for the better part of a month. We've been talking about it all weekend. Well, the last 2 days, the Reds have done a great job. Hayward had 4 hits in the series opener, but went 0 for 4 on Friday and just 1 of 4 here yesterday. 0 for 2 today. Two balls and no strikes on Hayward. Happ at second base, Russell on at first, and drop foul off to the third base side. Two balls and a strike now on Hayward. Two and two. Came after him back-to-back fastballs, and Hayward tardy.
He's got a lot of confidence right now. Romano does in just about every pitch in his pocket. And it's not because he's throwing any harder today than he has in other days. Is that his feel for location, his release point is much better. He gets that change-up grip every time because that's the most difficult one to find when you need it in your glove. It's a lot easier to go from that change-up grip than it is, to your fastball than anything else.
So does he go slider here, 2-2 after 2 straight fastballs to Hayward? They're setting up away from it.
Tried to backdoor it. Same pitch he got Montgomery out on to get the first out of this inning.
All right, what are you going to do here? 3-2.
You go with a fastball, you come right inside on him. Or in the words of Ray Miller, you take your best pitch, you take a little bit off and you throw it for a strike.
Runners get started, 3-2. And here it comes from Romano. Drilled into left field. And Duvall leaps, cannot get it. 2 runs will score on a double with 2 outs by Hayward. 2-0 Chicago.
I'm not sure when the scouting report changed on Jason Hayward, but he sure looks a lot better when he tries to take that ball to left field than when he does trying to negotiate a pitch on the inner part of the plate. To me, he's always been a guy that you have to crowd. Big guy, long arms, long swing, and he hits this like a bullet.
Well, the Reds have come from behind in each of the 3 wins so far during this series, so they'll have to try and do it again if they want to make it a 4-game sweep. Cubs took a 2-run lead into the 6th inning here on Thursday night. And I beg your pardon, the Reds yesterday, I forgot, got that home run by Barnhart. Second game, the Reds had to come back. Cubs scored 3 in the 4th inning. Base hit right field. Hayward will score. And it's 3-0 Chicago. Go down to second. And safely is Baez. Big clutch 2-out hits by Hayward and now Baez.
Boy, Baez hit a double down the third baseline. Look how he's bailing out. I mean, he's stepping right towards the shortstop, but somehow hits this ball to right field, right over the head of Votto. I mean, it didn't clear his glove by much at all. So Hayward's going to come around with 2 outs. You're almost guaranteed to score on that. I would really have preferred that throw to have gone into the cutoff man to keep Hayward at first base.
It'll go as a throwing error by Shebler, allowing the runner to go to second base. Danny Darwin out to talk with Romano. He allowed singles to the first 2 batters in the inning, and Happ and Russell. Got a strikeout and a line out. But then after running the count full on Hayward, he clubs a 3-2 pitch off a left field wall for a 2-run double. Now a 2-out single drives in Hayward from Baez.
You know that Sal Romano's got to be a little disappointed. You know the scoreless streak is over. He's down 3 runs. But Danny Darwin out there to remind him it's all about damage control right here. You just can't let this inning get out of hand now just because they pieced together a couple of hits in a row.
Well, with the base open, they will pitch to the left-handed batting Rizzo, even with the right-handed batter Contreras on deck. Rizzo 0 for 2. Floro and Crockett begin to loosen in the Cincinnati bullpen. Driven way back into right. And out of here, a 2-run home run. A 5-run Chicago 5th, all with 2 outs. And boy, the wheels have fallen off for Sal Romano.
Well, it looks like a changeup that he just hangs right down Broadway, about belt high. And Rizzo dreams about pitches like that.
Well, he's lived that dream many, many times, has Anthony Rizzo. I mean, here in Cincinnati, that is his 25th home run against the Reds in his career. That's 4th most among active players, behind only Pujols, Braun, and McCutchen. Five runs have scored with 2 outs in the inning. And the Reds have work to do, but a long way to go in this one. We're just in the top of the 5th. And now the 1-2 on Contreras, nowhere near the strike zone. Well, Romano's due up 3rd in the bottom of the 5th, so more than likely his afternoon will be finished. Well, he was cruising right along through the front 4 innings of this game. But now the old dreaded 3rd time through the batting order that you hear so much about, and Jim Riggleman has talked about it, that he's had to re-examine the way he manages games now. And this 3rd time through the batting order, all the 2-out hits driving in runs from Hayward, Baez, and Rizzo. 5 runs in the Chicago 5th. Well, if you'd like to win tickets to see the Zach Brown Band at Great American Ballpark later this summer, Fox Sports Ohio has 40 pairs of tickets to give away. Tweet using hashtag ZachBrownGABP for your chance to see this amazing show. That'll be coming up here at the ballpark August the 4th. The Reds will obviously, for a show of that magnitude like they were for Luke Bryan last week, will be out of town. All right, so some catching up to do now for the Redlegs. They've managed just 1 hit through the front 4 against Mike Montgomery. And the Cubs strike for 5 in the top of this 5th inning.
And that 1 hit by the Reds was the first batter of the 1st inning.
Duvall pops it up and this appears to be playable. It is for Rizzo in foul territory, 1 out. Told you about Montgomery and his career numbers against Cincinnati. I mean, they are really, really good. The 3 starts all came last season. Jose Peraza grounded out to his counterpart, his first time up. Alex Blandino stands in the on-deck circle. That is a spot of Sal Romano. Rizzo to handle this bouncer himself, tiptoes by the bag for the 2nd out. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign out by the PNC Power Stacks in right center today, Cassandra Spears, Springboro, Ohio, it's pretty country up there, will win the new Tundra. On display right here at the ballpark thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. So rather than using a position player, and that was Blandino, the Reds are going to use Michael Lorenzen to bat with the bases empty and 2 outs. Five innings, 8 hits, 5 runs for Romano. And Lorenzen looks at a strike. Of course, Lorenzen, an outstanding 2-way player collegiately. And we've seen him swing a good bat even here at the major league level. Couple of home runs. And really the only time he had a significant number of at-bats was that first year they brought him to the major leagues when he was a part of the starting rotation. Been in the bullpen the last 2.5 years.
You still pitch to him, though, like he's a real hitter when he comes up there as a pinch hitter.
High fly ball hit pretty well into left field, and this is Lorenzen's 3rd career home run. How about that? Hey, I'm not so sure, and you and I have talked about it a long time, that they shouldn't be looking at this guy from time to time about getting a couple of at-bats.
I agree 100%. He's an incredible athlete, great hand-eye coordination, and part of pitching him like an opposing hitter rather than a pitcher means don't throw him a hanging breaking ball.
You know, it's funny, I was talking about this very topic before the game today with Tom Browning. His son was a Division II College Player of the Year, was drafted by the Boston Red Sox, and right now they're going to shut him down for a couple of weeks because he threw so many innings in college. But as Tom pointed out, as a batter this year, as Hamilton lifts one into left field, this one's going to be caught. But as Tom pointed out, his son batted over .440 this year. Why not see if he can't get a little playing time in the meantime?
Why not?
Reds are on the board. They trail by 4 at the end of 5.
1990, the first Sunday night home game in Reds history. Who could forget? Norm Charlton ran through the stop sign at third base and scored the Reds' final run of a 10-6 win when he bowled over Mike Scioscia at the plate. Just an aggressive play, said a smiling Charlton after the game. Years later, he said that was just an example of the kind of team we were and how we played. And I'm wondering if any of the Reds, Michael Lorenzen, Sal Romano, might try that same thing today if given the opportunity. Who knows? Big boys.
Reds were up 9-3 in that game when that happened. I will never forget that moment as long as I live. You just don't see it. And you know what? Brian asked a question. I just don't think guys are wired. There are many guys in general, whether you're talking about 40 years ago or looking ahead in the next 20 years, I don't think there are a lot of guys wired like Norm Charlton.
Well, you're right. And if they were wired like that, their wiring has been changed now by rules imposed on them coming up all the way from amateur baseball to high school throughout the minor leagues, where those collisions at home plate now are just as rare as ever. I mean, since Charleston played amateur baseball, there's probably a must-slide rule at every level, which I don't disagree with one bit, but that's why you don't see that kind of thing.
And of course, Scioscia had built that reputation forever about a guy that you would never even want to get near at the plate. He was blocking the plate, big, strong, tough guy. And Charlton just setting the tone in late June, just running through Scioscia at the plate.
Well, Scioscia had a reputation. My old roommate Tim Flannery one time tried to knock him over. It didn't go so well for him. And Scioscia holds on to the ball. He ended up actually giving Flannery the worst of it. And after the ball game, Scioscia signed a ball for him, the ball that was in that, and said, to Flan, mess with the bull, you get the horns. I think he's got that somewhere. Last time he tried to run over Scioscia.
Yeah. We can go back down to Brian for more on that Charlton play. Here's a 3-2 first to Schwarber, and that is strike 3 called. Brian?
Yeah, you're talking about just the mentality those guys had. That play stemmed from a play 2 nights earlier when Scioscia blocked the plate on Eric Davis as Eric Davis tried to score. And Joe Oliver said years later that he remembered at the time Charlton saying after watching that play, if I ever get the chance, I'm going to lay him out. He didn't know he was going to get the chance 2 nights later.
Charlton, one of my all-time favorite players. Tough, good, smart.
You ought to have him take you out. He's a fishing guide down there, I think, in East Texas.
You're right.
Maybe you and Luke go out and do a little red fishing.
That'd be good. I always stayed in touch with Norm after he moved on out of Cincinnati. He had some great years out in the Pacific Northwest, and he really had a nice career. Of course, part of the Nasty Boys trio, along with Rob Dibble and Randall Kirk Myers. I would love to have seen Charlton as a starter full-time in his career. He came up initially with Montreal, as I recall, as a starter. And the Reds use him to start from time to time. Still comes into town quite a bit when the Reds have their different, big events. Grounded down to third. That's a real nice inning by Kyle Crockett. 1, 2, 3, and the Reds have the top of the order coming up. They pulled within 4. They'll try and get closer than that.
Against a surprising first place Atlanta Braves. All the action starts Reds Live at 7 p.m. The game will follow right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Streaming live, of course, on Fox Sports Go. Swing into summer, presented by Click It or Ticket.
All right, how about the Atlanta Braves? We brought up, they've lost 3 in a row going into play today, and surprisingly, they've lost the last 2 to the Baltimore Orioles, who have the worst record in all of baseball, but still, they're having a big-time year. Game-and-a-half lead over Philadelphia, atop the National League's East.
I was reading today, Tom, I believe that their uber prospect, young rookie player, Ronald Acuna, is coming off the disabled list and will be activated for tomorrow's game against the Reds.
We saw him make his major league debut right here in Cincinnati earlier this summer. In the spring. All right, top of the order for the Reds. Shebler now the third time through the order. And that ball is whacked, but right at Schwarber. Hard hit ball. First time Shebler's been retired today. Had a single and a walk. Tucker Barnhart is 0 for 2, is struck out looking and bounced out to third. Second time that Barnhart has looked at strike 3 today. And that is 6 strikeouts in the game now for Montgomery.
That's what I mean by Montgomery being able to make his fastball that looks, you know, less than major league average according to the radar gun, but above major league average from the eyes of the hitter. I mean, these are the kind of things sometimes that you just don't pick up when you look at spreadsheets.
Joey has walked and popped up to short center on a diving play made by Almora back in the 4th.
Left on left changeup. Don't see many of those. In fact, that's the first one we've seen today from Montgomery.
Three and one on Joey. Laced into left field, and that's a base hit. Votto's first hit today, third hit for the Reds against Montgomery. Now you got a chance to get a little closer here with Suaro coming up. 1,024 career singles now for Joey Votto. We remind you about the 2018 Camping World Major League Baseball All-Star Ballot, open online. The 89th Major League Baseball game presented by MasterCard from the nation's capital of D.C. is July the 17th, and don't forget that will be live on Fox. The 1,024 singles ties Frank McCormick for 10th place in Reds history. Next up will be Brandon Phillips, who had 1,240 singles. Pulled down to third. Got a funny look to it, half handling that ball, gets the fielder's choice. And that will end the inning. End of 6, 5-1 Cubs. Changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. Great day to be out on the river today. Beautiful. Trying to get that anchor up, looks like. We're thinking about it. now dropping anchor on the pitching mound here is the right-hander Jackson Stevens, just brought back up from AAA Louisville, where he has spent time this season as a starting pitcher. Brought back up on Tuesday. It's his third stint with a big league club. Reds are making a double switch here as Brandon Dixon will replace Eugenio Suarez. So Dixon will bat in the number 8 spot, which means he's due up 4th when the Reds bat in the 7th inning. Here we go, top of the 7th. Montgomery will bat, and a tapper to Joey Votto. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jackson Stevens.
Well, nice job by Kyle Crockett. A 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout of Kyle Schwarber in the 6th inning, and Stevens makes quick work of the top of the 7th. I think Stevens is a very intriguing guy. He's still very young. I think he's only 24 years old. And he's been used exclusively as a reliever here at the major league level. But, you know, I think his stuff and his approach translates to a possible starter at some point if the Reds need that.
Now, when the Reds sent him back down for the 2nd time, first week of June, all of his appearances after being sent down and subsequently brought back up earlier this week have been in the bullpen. He opened the year on the Reds opening day roster. That's when Raisel Iglesias, the day before the season opener, had to go on the paternity list. So Stevens was on the opening day roster. This ball driven into right field. And the Cubs have that run back. What a day it's been for Albert Almora Jr. 3 hits and now a home run to make it 6-1 Chicago.
God, he's hit the ball hard each and every time he's come to the plate. Maybe the hardest ball that he hit was his last at bat in the 5th inning when he hit a line drive through the left fielder. This time he hits it into the seats. Opposite field, Great American Ballpark home run.
So you think about the choices that Joe Maddon has to make with this roster on who's going to start on a daily basis. I mean, a guy like Almora he would be playing regularly for 3/4 of the team in baseball.
Yeah.
You know, they move Zobrist sometime in the outfield. They move Bryant from time to time in the outfield. They've played Baez in the outfield. We know about Schwarber, Happ, Hayward. I mean, all of those guys are candidates on any given day to be in the Cub lineup playing in the outfield. Now, not all of them play center field, but, I mean, man, the choices for Joe Maddon seemingly never end.
Now, the choices may be whittled down a little bit if the Cubs end up going into the trade market to try to bolster their starting rotation a little bit. They're having some problems there at the bottom end of the rotation. I mean, John Lester's been lights out as usual. Quintana has been up and down. Tyler Chatwood has been definitely up and down. And you just wonder with a team with their kind of resources whether they might be in that market at the trade deadline in order to get somebody at the, you know, mid-range of their rotation. It'll take some big league talent to get that.
You know, we always keep it here, Chris, for the singing of God Bless America. And today, some of you may have read the story quite some time ago. Castellini family, very close to the Canton family. They live in California. And this lady who's getting ready to sing, this young girl who's getting ready to sing God Bless America. Her father and her brother died in the California mudslides. So mom and daughter are here, and Lauren is going to sing God Bless America.
Women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Lauren Kenton as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Honda immediately following the game today on Fox Sports Ohio. Jeff Pecoro's back. He'll be in the clubhouse. I'll be back at the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Amongst other things, some other news and notes around baseball today. Clayton Kershaw, back from the DL, pitched last night. A short stint against the Mets, but Kershaw back in the Dodgers rotation. And how about Edwin Jackson, expected to start tomorrow night for his 13th different big league team.
Pretty amazing. Base hit by Scooter Gennett to start off this Reds 7th inning. Oh, what a job Montgomery has given his team today. Pitching into the 7th inning. And that's only the 4th Cincinnati hit. And really nobody getting loose there. A few guys walking around down in the Chicago bullpen, but no one asked to crank it up. We have not seen any of their primary guys, if you will, in this bullpen over the weekend, because the Reds have led every game by a decent margin once we've gotten past the 6th inning. Cubs with a 5-run lead, but should Duvall reach, I am sure you will see someone start to get loose down there. They're without their closer, Brandon Morrow, right now. He got injured taking off his clothes inside the Cubs clubhouse. We did see Cishek. He would be a big integral part of that bullpen right now, along with, we've not seen Pedro Strop the entire weekend. And one of those two more than likely would be a pitcher they would use in a save situation if it came to that, which of course right now it's not. scores in the second inning, a 2-1 lead over St. Louis. Arizona shutting out the Pirates, going for the weekend sweep, 3-0 in the fourth. Braves are winning 5-1 over Baltimore. We'll see Atlanta starting tomorrow night. Cubs have Pedro Strop getting loose. And there's a base hit down the left field line. So be for extra bases as Jeanette goes into third on a double by Duvall.
Now, the Reds aren't ready to go away yet. That's a changeup that Montgomery throws to Adam Duvall right there, just hangs it right up there and hooked inside the third baseline. Adam's always trying to get out in front of the breaking pitch and stay behind the fastball. And he does that time and puts runners in scoring position. And this
doesn't appear as though Strobe's ready yet, but obviously this will
give him a little extra time anyway.
Yeah. But I don't think he's going to be ready to face this batter. They want to go that route. They want to know for sure, though. Joe Madden looking back to his pitching coach, Jim Hickey. They're still on the phone. Hickey throwing his hands up in the air. I'm wondering if anybody's picked it up at the other end, and now somebody finally does. Boy, how frustrating would that be?
What happened to the old sign? I mean, you just take your hat off and wave it when you're ready. That was pretty much foolproof. Unless you're attacked by a bunch of mosquitoes and give a false sign.
And looped into right field. It's going to fall in a hit. 1 run scores to make it 6-2, and they're on the corners with nobody out. Peraza, a run scoring single.
He goes right down and just kind of lofts this down the right field line. We've seen that swing and that approach from Peraza a lot.
Well, here comes Joe Madden. So they're going to go to Strop. Montgomery gives him 6+ innings. Allows 6 hits so far, a couple of runs. 2 on base his responsibility, 6 strikeouts in the game, and he only walked 2. Did a nice job. Skyline Chili called to the bullpen, brings on the right-hander Pedro Strop.
In any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Reds have scored a run on 3 straight hits. They have runners on the corners with nobody out. Pedro Strop, the new pitcher, been a big part of the Chicago bullpen for a number of years now, and the Reds will counter. Batting for Brandon Dixon will be Jesse Winker.
Now, Strop has turned himself into one of the best setup men in all of baseball last few years, and the numbers for Strop this year even better than normal.
And Winker, a fly ball into left field, pretty well hit. This ball is gone! The second pinch hit home run in this game by the Reds. 1 for Lorenzen. And now a 3-run big fly from Winker. And a 1-run game.
Pedro Strop, welcome to Great American Ballpark. He thought he was going to a safety zone out there. He's still looking out there in left field where that ball went out. And doing it in disbelief.
Winker is 6 out of 10 as a pinch hitter now this season. All right, well, this was a 5-0 game. It was a 6-1 game before the Reds came to bat here in the 7th, and lo and behold, with nobody out still in the inning, it is a 1-run affair after the 3-run pinch hit home run by Jesse Winker. Into center field. This is going to fall, a base hit for Billy. Well, let the fun begin now. That's a tying run at first base.
Now Strop comes in, and the Reds counter with a left-hander, and he just goes what he thinks is a safe zone. But when you throw it up around the belt in this ballpark, it's not safe. Opposite field hitting, goes into about the second row. Yeah, boy, does that wake up the Reds dugout and all the Reds fans here, and there's a lot of them at Great American Ballpark here this afternoon.
Hey, by the way, I failed to mention on Peraza, when he got that base hit to knock in a run, that's now 23 games in a row Peraza's reached base. That's the longest by a Red this season. 3rd longest in Major League Baseball. Full foul. Shebler has singled to center, drawn a walk, and lined out to left. The Reds now have scored 5 or more runs in 7 straight games for the first time since June of 2016. Dodgers did it in early June for 7 in a row. But now with the Reds getting to that number, that's tied for the longest such streak in baseball this year. National League. One ball and 2 strikes on Shebler. You've got the right guys up there. Billy has 15 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 3 times. We know that Contreras is as good as anybody around at getting that ball in a hurry down to second base. Billy not running. Grounded foul.
That home run that was hit off of Pedro Strop, only the 2nd home run he has given up all year long. Facing over 120 hitters. Give up that home run back in April against the Cardinals when Paul DeYoung took him deep.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and it's outside with a fastball. Would not be surprised to see Hamilton running here 2-2.
Well, you're looking for a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch.
Although very tardy getting his lead there was Hamilton. He was not ready. I mean, it's like Strop got that sign in a hurry. Well, he'll definitely be running 3-2. Still nobody out. Hamilton is the tying run at first base. And it's ball 4. Boy, what an at-bat that was. Shebler was behind on a count 0-2.
Last 2 pitches for Stroke, really not even close.
And you can pretty much take it to the bank that Barnhart's up there to bunt. In situations this year, when Barnhart has come to the plate, he has been asked frequently. Now, it's been mixed reviews as to whether or not he's been able to get it down. The last time we saw it on his homestand, he could not. He has one sacrifice. The Cubs believe he's bunting. They have half in on the grass at third base. And Rizzo charging in from first. Let's see. No sign of a bunt on the first pitch. And a base hit into center field. They're going to wave around Billy. Here comes the throw to the plate. Cut off. We are tied.
Pitch swinging, and again a pitch is right out over the plate. What a smooth swing by Barnhart. Even made smoother with the fact that Billy Hamilton rounds third base and scores a run on this one. Chuck and duck by Stroke.
Well, the pitching coach Jim Hickey's going to come out. Randy Rosario is a left-hander getting ready in the bullpen. Well, the ump's got to get out of the way there.
Yes, he does.
There's no play at the plate. Look at Tucker. He is some kind of fired up boy.
I'll tell you, this whole team is fired up. And this is a different ball club entirely than the Cubs have seen earlier this season. I mean, right now you can just imagine the difference in the energy level from the Cubs dugout on the third base side and the Reds dugout. Coming back like they have to score 5 runs in this inning on the first base side.
All right, now you have Joey Votto. First and second, nobody out. Ball 1. Strop is not retired a batter. He came in with a run in first and third and nobody out. He gave up a 3-run home run to Winker, single to Hamilton, walked to Shebler after he was ahead 0-2, and a single to Barnhart to knock in the tying run. 2-0. And it's into right center field. All the way into the alley. 1-run scores. Joey Votto has broken the tie. And he's in there safely with an RBI double. Unbelievable.
The Reds hitters aren't wasting any time either. They're coming right out of the dugout ready to swing the bat against Pedro Strop. And the Cubs think that maybe they were able to nab Votto at second base on this play by Hayward. That's Rizzo covering. Does he get the tag down in time? They've asked for an official review. But the go-ahead run is scored.
But it's so close, so close. Where did the glove make contact with his leg? Was the foot on the bag? I mean, these Cub fans are begging, pleading, asking, and praying for this to get turned over.
It's a really smart play by Rizzo. I mean, right spot, right time. Catches the ball in one motion, makes the tag. Big league defensive play.
You know, coming into the series, the Cubs pitchers had not allowed 6 runs in an inning all year long. This is the 3rd time in this series the Reds have scored 6 runs in an inning. It's incredible.
Well, just think about what happened yesterday. I mean, when Luke Farrell was on the mound in the 3rd inning, he retires the first 2 batters. And then he walks Joey Votto, and Joe Madden proceeds to go to the bullpen, and it absolutely backfired on him big time. And the same thing's happened here today. He brings in Pedro Strop, and he can't get anybody out. Sometimes
been a lengthy wait.
Sometimes the smartest guy in the room is in the wrong room.
Still waiting. Here we go. Safe at second base. Boy, there is some serious jawing going on in these stands here these last couple of days. The way the Cubs have just owned the Reds. And now all these Cub fans, of course, they come into town and, hey, there's money spends great here just like anybody else's money does. So we're happy to have them. But it's the first time in a long while the Reds fans are having some fun. And look at those numbers. 30 earned runs allowed in this series. They had only allowed 30 in the prior 10 games combined.
They came in with the second best team earned run average in the National League.
Alex Blandino will now bat for Stevens. And the infield drawn in second and third. Still nobody out. All 8 Reds to come to the plate have reached base in what has been a 6-run 7th inning to take the lead.
Now, the Reds have been really aggressive against Strop. We'll see if Blandino is ready to swing the bat here early in the count if he gets a pitch he likes.
Well, we'll see. He's taken a lot of strikes in this series. In the times he's had a chance, and he's made 2 starts in this series.
A lot of sliders, splitters. That's really the main combination for Strop. He's held opponents this year at the batting averages under 200, whether you're a righty or a lefty, until today.
1-0 on Blandino, infield in. And he takes a breaking ball and there's a strike. Reds only have their backup catcher Casale left on that bench available the rest of the way. And Blandino was not ready to hit the fastball. Tardy on a 1-1 count.
Well, that happens a lot of times when you see the first 2 pitches off speed, so you're really not up to speed coming in off the bench. Got to shorten up right here, get the ball into the outfield. The Cubs have the infield in. They're trying to cut that run off at the plate. Catcher running at third base.
He has looked at strike 3 times the last 2 days. So you got to believe that he's going to be ready to swing the bat this time. This is a huge spot for Alex Blandino. One and 2 the count. He has been called out on strikes for the 4th time in the last 2 days and 1 at bat. So they're going to intentionally walk Scooter Gennett. He started this inning with a single. And now they will face Adam Duvall with the bases loaded. And of course, in the last 33 days, where the Reds have hit 7 grand slams, one of 3 teams in the history of baseball to ever do that in a 33-day time frame. Duvall is the only Red who has more than one of those. He has 2 grand slams in the last 34 days. So now trying to pick up his teammate Blandino. Second out of the inning. Here's Peraza. He knocked in the first run of this inning. That was a final batter that Montgomery faced. Boy, Montgomery went from having a great game to having still a quality start. He's charged with 3 of the runs. But I mean, he gave up 4 runs, I beg your pardon. Not a quality start. I forgot about the home run hit by Lorenzen. So he gives up 4-3 in this inning. As Stroke throws gasoline on the fire behind him. Peraza trying to deliver a big 2-out hit and increase his Reds lead. Bottom fell out of that pitch. It's slider down and away. 1-2 on Jose. Now we'll see who the Reds are going to bring into this game. Amir Garrett was up and throwing. He's sort of standing there watching. There you see him watching the action from the bullpen down the right field line. Clearly he's ready to go, and they've already pinch hit for Jackson Stevens, who goes 1 inning and allows a hit and a run.
Well, if it is Garrett, it'll be that matchup we've been looking forward to seeing again.
Yes, indeed. But first things first, they'd like a little wiggle room. 2-2. Good eye there, not chasing that pitch. He swung and missed at a minute ago. Boy, it's a big pitch. It's a big pitch. You find a way to drive in a couple here, and you will have officially, won't be over, but you will have caused a major wound to this Cubs psyche. Let's see if Peraza can deliver. A 6-run 7th inning. And he's walked in a run. Holy Moses. What an at-bat by Peraza.
Well, he went to his go-to pitch, which is that slider. But he wasn't able to get Peraza to chase. The ball goes out of the strike zone. And Joe Madden will make a trip to the mound for the 2nd time in the same inning.
Oh, my Lord. Can you believe it? They get to use Winker again. A 7-run 7th continues. Rosario has been pitching brilliantly for Chicago. Came in to face Winker with the bases loaded. And Jesse clubbed his first career grand slam.
He did indeed. Remember that pitch, though, was a fastball out over the plate, just a little bit above the knees. We'll see if Rosario, who, by the way, has only given up 1 home run all year. That was that one that you just saw. And holding left-handers to a 136 batting average. First pitch breaking ball.
And in there, strike 1 to Winker with the bases loaded. Winker, the big blow, one of many big blows in this inning. But this is the one that got the Reds right back in it. A pinch hit 3-run home run on the first pitch thrown by Pedro Strop. In what has been a 7-run Cincinnati 7th inning, they've come back from a 6-1 deficit to take a 2-run lead and hunting for more. Back-to-back breaking balls, and both of them strikes. See what the Reds have done with the bases loaded this year. And that's good morning, good afternoon, and good night in this at bat. Wicker called out on strikes. But, what an inning. What an inning. Reds lead by 2. We go to the 8th. Zero's in on this Red bullpen. And the matchup right from the get-go that we've seen twice in this series already. We go back to Thursday night with the bases loaded. Amir Garrett brought into the game to face Rizzo, struck him out on 3 pitches. And then yesterday, with 2 on and 1 out, Garrett in to face Rizzo. And Rizzo bounced into a double play to win the inning. You can rest assured both of these guys know this is a start of a long, long battle ahead if everybody stays healthy and if Garrett stays in the bullpen. You don't think about it when a guy's starting and you're facing a guy 3 times, 4 times, even if you stick around long enough. People remember the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 7th. Rizzo to be followed by Contreras and Schwarber. Lefty, righty, lefty.
This is not the only matchup that will be big going forward between the Reds and the Cubs, because with all the left-handed hitters in this Cubs lineup, I mean, you've got to have some left-handers in that bullpen. And as long as Garrett's down there, I mean, it'll be big against Rizzo. It'll be big against Schwarber, Happ, Hayward. You name them.
I guess I only bring up Rizzo because, he's sort of the guy that the fans of other teams really focus on with this Cub team. I mean, he's clearly their leader. If something gets dusted up, he's right there, the first guy in the middle of all of it. Garrett wondering where this missed.
It was called a strike.
Oh, it was called a strike. Okay. 2-2 the count. Got him swinging again.
Well, he missed with the breaking balls early in the count. Just decided to come back with the heat. And the put-away pitch at 98. That's about as much as you'll see Anthony Rizzo choke up and still couldn't get around on it.
1 out in the Cubs' 8th inning, and here's Contreras. Straightaway center, hit a long way, and Billy will play it off the wall. He might hold this guy to a single. Nope, throw's going to be offline and in time. Just a little offline, or they had a shot. So now the tying run comes to the plate. So this backs up exactly what Chris was making the point to a moment ago, where, yeah, we zero in on Rizzo v. Garrett, but now it's all about Garrett v. Schwarber representing the tying run at the plate. Schwarber 0 for 3. The left-hander Crockett struck him out in the 6th inning. Schwarber, a .256 batter against lefties. He's been much better against left-handers than he has against the right-handers. By the way, I failed to mention that Blandino stays in the game to play third base. So the Reds have used Suarez, Dixon, and now Blandino. just blew him away on the gas. 97.
Yeah, Amir Garrett is an example of what happens sometimes when you convert a starter into a reliever and you find out that his stuff just plays up considerably when you give him just short appearances. I mean, he can go out there and just cut it loose, never holding anything back for the second or third time around. Ooh.
Ian Happ has done a lot of damage to the Reds this year. He's a tying run at the plate. But he had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it straight back. That fastball from Garrett at 98. Well, it's been a great crowd today, almost 31,000, and they have been into it, especially with the Reds coming back. And now Garrett tries to put away Chicago in the 8th. 0-2 on Happ. Good night, Irene. Whoa, brother. Garrett dealing out of the Reds' pen yet again. To Budweiser, save big. Budweiser Freedom Reserve and Folds of Honor. Buy 4 view-level tickets and receive 4 Reds hats for only $48. Visit Reds.com/4, the number 4, the word 4, FOR 48. Amir Garrett down there with Danny Darwin after Garrett works a scoreless 8th inning, allows 1 hit, strikes out 3. Raisel Iglesias is cranking it up in the Cincinnati bullpen. The Reds bat in the 8th inning with a 2-run lead. Rosario had to bail out Strobe, striking out Winker with the bases loaded in a 7-run Reds 7th inning. Strobe gave up 4 and gassed in 3 others from Montgomery. Straightaway center field. And Almora will go back and get it. The 7th inning was just mind-boggling. Peraza had a base hit, made it a 6-2 game. But everything changed on the very next pitch. It was the first one by Strobe out of the bullpen. And Winker, a pinch hitter, hit a 3-run home run to left field to make it a 1-run game. Then you get a hit by Hamilton, a walk to Shebler. Barnhart thinking maybe they're going to have him bunt. Cubs thought he was bunting. He ties the game with a single. The next batter, Votto, doubles into right center. A walk brought in another run. And the Reds 7 runs. Shebler, the batter, with 1 out and nobody on. You're looking ahead to the Chicago 9th. They'll have Russell, the number 8 hitter. Then a pinch hitter. And they have available down there Jimenez, Bryant, Zobrist, La Stella. So plenty of options. And then back to the top of the order in Almora against Iglesias.
Get $5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models.
I mean, these Cub fans that have come here and they've spent their hard-earned money and they've traveled from pretty fair distances, they are just in shock. I mean, let's be honest about it. It is what it is. This Cub team has had absolute ownership over the Reds the last 4 years. I mean, unlike any other team against any other team in baseball. It has been ridiculous how badly the Cubs have just pounded the Reds over the last 4 seasons. And it seems like every time they came to Cincinnati, they were scoring 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 runs a game. Last time they were here, they scored 10 in one game. They scored 8 in another game. They won 3 out of 4 over a weekend series and really embarrassed the Reds. The only game the Reds won was on a bases-loaded walk. And here they come in for a 4-game set this time. And the Reds have just simply played better baseball, and they have been a better team at least for these 4 days. Well, 3 days, and we'll see about the 9th inning. Not saying they're a better team overall. That's not what I said. But they have been a better team the last 3 days, convincingly so. And we'll see about today.
Well, everybody today, whether you're a Cubs fan or a Reds fan, has been treated to a really good baseball game.
Good series.
I mean, great entertainment. And I'm sure that a lot of Cubs fans, whatever happens in this rest of this ball game, walk away thinking, boy, this great American ballpark, good place to watch a game.
Great place to watch a game. Saw a lot of Cub fans in and around downtown last night. I was walking around to go have dinner down in the city last night, and you could tell they were having a good weekend, even though their team wasn't winning games. There's ball 4 to Barnhart. Well, thanks to Coca-Cola, July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, that series, you can buy a $12 ticket package and receive a voucher for a free regular hot dog and a 16-ounce fountain drink. And we'll have fireworks after the 3rd and the 4th. Remember, this great deal is only available through this ticket package. Now, Votto been on base 3 times, 2 hits, including the tie-breaking run-scoring double in the 7th inning. Rosario faced Votto here in the 6th inning in the series opener and walked him. I beg your pardon, he did not walk him in there. It was a walk from the pitcher in front of him. Base hit left field, Votto's 3rd hit of the afternoon. 4th time he's been on base.
That's what makes Votto so dangerous. He just simply takes what he is given. This little breaking ball from Randy Rosario, and it seems to get a lot of left-handers out. Look at the location of that pitch. That is a quality pitch that Votto's looking for. Stays behind, a little flick of the wrist. Base hit the left.
Votto's been on base in 10 of his 18 plate appearances in this series. Well, now Blandino. He looked at strike 3 in the 7th. Force play will end the inning. Here we go, boys and girls. The Reds trying to sweep the Cubs in a 4-game series. Games, a World Cup on Fox and FS1. You can stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. All right. Told you before the game what a Reds win would mean, you know, short-term, long-term, historically speaking. They're 3 outs away. It would be the first 4-game sweep of Chicago since all the way back in 1983. It would be the second 4-game sweep of this season. Reds swept the Dodgers, you may remember, 4 in a row. And a 7-game winning streak for the Reds. Their longest since July of 6 years ago. And the man responsible for those final 3 outs is Raisel Iglesias.
You know, incredibly, Tom, going back to that sweep in 1983 of the Reds over the Cubs, the Reds used a total of 6 pitchers in that series.
Wow. Well, Iglesias is their 5th pitcher today. Garrett an inning, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, no runs. Iglesias gunning for his 13th save of this season. And a tapper to the right side by Zobrist, the pinch hitter, and that's out number 1 in the 9th. Boy, there will be some serious smack talking going on walking out of this ballpark and down to the stands today. And you certainly hope it's all, taken well and in good fun. I mean, the Cubs fans have had more than their share of doing a lot of talking to Reds fans over the last 4 years when they've come barreling in here.
I remember before the Cubs won the World Series, they had plenty of practice on the receiving end.
For sure.
And you broadcast many years in Chicago during those type of seasons.
Great fans, man. I'm telling you. Incredible, incredible fans the Cubs have. Whether you like them or you don't like them, it doesn't matter. La Stella pops up. Foul territory. This will be Votto. 1 out to go. And now everybody's standing except for those wearing blue. And yes, indeed, the brooms are out. But 1 more out to go for Iglesias and the Reds, and it's Almora. This guy has knocked the cover off the ball today. Has 3 hits. His only out was a line drive caught by Duvall. Oh, 2. And now the finishing touch on a 4-game sweep. In the air, right field. This is going to do it. 7 in a row. What an unbelievable comeback today for the Cincinnati Reds. Down 5-0, then down 6-1. And they strike for 7 runs in the 7th inning, their 3rd inning of this series, where they scored 6 or more runs. And we brought up earlier, the Cubs had not allowed 6 runs in any inning all year long before this season began, the series began. We'll be back with more in a moment.